This one might just make a good case for the X-Files. Hello again, horror fans. Today I'm going to be reviewing Horror Express from 1973, starring Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing, and a cameo by Telly Savalas. This is just one of those horror movies which has been hanging about streaming services for a while because of the cast and because it was an older movie I'd not seen. It was just one I was curious about and wanted to check out. Really go places, especially near the end of the movie. So the setup is then you've got these two very well respected British professors, played by Lee and played by Cushing. I think they might be based on real people on the Trans-Siberian Express. In one of the carriages of the train, stowed away in a cage, is the remains of a primate. It's revealed later to be half man and half ape. Manages to get out, killing someone. This mysterious thing with its eyes, which zaps into the eyes of someone else. You get like a red-eyed effect and blood coming from the eyes, and the thing starts running amok on the train. And there's a mystery about what exactly it is, spreading almost like a virus between people. You have that side of the mystery as well. And these two, as I said, respected professors who butt heads quite early on, because it seems like the Peter Cushing one is the one who has like little bit more respect. He has this sort of more like managerially thing to him, and there's a clash like right near the start when they're both waiting to board the train, and at first Christopher Lee's character feels like he's disrespected, forgetting who he is, whereas it's like Peter Cushing, because he has a certain way about him, and like he basically bribes the guy at the desk, then immediately he gets his own thing. And because of this, there's heat between the two of them. They both seem to take an interest in the same woman, who's like this Polish countess who plays into the plot a little bit. And you've just got various characters on the train as well, like different like people, like a religious character who seems to have his own take on what's going on. The countess, as I said, you've got another female who's like the assistant to the Peter Cushing character, so she has her own small little subplot. But yeah, that's the basic setup, and it's really quite naff, this one. It's not very good at all. It, as I said, it really goes places, and it did remind me of an X-Files episode, but the trouble is it was just so cheap and slapdash the way it was put together, and it really is very messy, because like at times things just escalate and jump from one thing to the other. So it seems like the gimmick of the film isn't that interesting and it's just a bit silly, and they don't really have the budget or the standard of effects to really pull it off as well. But then later on, as things go on, they start hitting you with more and more like add-ons and like gimmicks, and it's like, okay, so by the end of it, well, it's something from outer space. And there's lots of like plot exposition, which is kind of clunky, but it's like at one point Christopher Lee like starts his theory, which is almost like a Mulder type theory, but it may make Mulder's theory look quite like mild. But because at one point a couple of people have been killed, so you've got the baggage guy, and then you've got this other woman. Well, that woman must have been an international spy. It's like, how the fuck did he draw that conclusion? Is it because she was international and she was acting mysterious? Is that how he got to that theory? Then this creature is like zapping the minds of these different people. So, because the first one, another one who was killed was a thief. I'm not sure how a known thief got on the train, but he was a thief. and then you had a spy, you had the baggage guy, and so his theory is that the creature is zapping from them to get the knowledge almost. So as a way to get like different kind of knowledge. At one point, they examine the eye of the creature because it is killed at one point. So they examine the eye and they just see like this view from out of space through this eye. So again, that leads to the revelation later on, and this is all UFO based. But that's what I mean. The gimmick is a bit lame to start off with, but then they just keep adding more and more bits to it. But yeah, no, it's just a badly put together movie. Like, there's no real suspense or drama on this train, because trains can be really cool places to set horror movies, and because of the confined spaces, you can have some good drama, you can have some good tension, but they never really make the most of it. The effects are like really bad. This creature looks terrible, and also the red eye stuff is like really lame, because at one point, like, the first person it kills, it gets like his pupils are like dilated, and that's the effect they're going for. And once again, it just looks really cheap and like clunky, but also it just gets a bit repetitive, the kills as well, because it always has this thing where, again, it's almost like a laser from the creature's eye to like the other eye, and you get the blood effect, which looks cheap, but then yeah, you just get this close-up shot of like the camera is going into like the person's face as they pass out, and it's a cheap way to do, like, okay, they're disorientated, they're passing out, they're dying, but because they keep doing it, it just gets repetitive anyway, and there's not a lot to like the kills. And yeah, as I said, it just hops from one thing to the other, and yeah, it's a really silly film as well, because at one point they're struggling to find this creature, and it's like, okay, this creature is moving about this train, he's being quite succinct, he's being quite sneaky, but again, and I know it's meant to be half human, but it's, yeah, okay, this is a bit much, and they can't find this creature until conveniently he kills someone, or it's for the plot. And yeah, outside of the main characters, like I would say the main two characters, there's a lot of bland characters. There's a lot of like author stereotypes, like this Polish woman who's the countess. It's like at one point she's like, oh yes, the English, Queen Victoria, crumpets, William Shakespeare. Oh, it's just terrible. And this cringeworthy sort of flirting with the Christopher Lee character. There's like a gypsy stereotype, pretty much, who's like the religious guy, and you get an attempt to do like the old kind of religion versus science, like that debate, because of the Christopher Lee character, who is the one who's, as I said, is like the more outspoken, and the one who's a bit more like hard to get on with almost, whereas like Peter Cushing's character is meant to be the more gentlemanly type character. But so the Christopher Lee character butts head with the religious guy. You also get a really silly scene when the religious guy starts freaking out and chanting, and then randomly a picture comes flying off the wall. And there's just a lot of like silly stuff, a lot to do with the plot, to do with like, why won't they let the passengers off the train, and then they're meant to be like keeping this all secret and to themselves, but it doesn't seem to take much for one of them to talk in front of like the passengers. It seems like there's an awful lot of passengers on this train who seem to know about this stuff as well, and yeah, so that there's lots of like cheesy sort of plot exposition. So the strongest stuff probably is Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing, and the way they interact. So the way the film started with them kind of at each other's backs was pretty good. And like Christopher Lee, to be fair, I think knew what sort of film he was in, and he had some good hammy dialogue. So half man, half ape, it's alive, he says, and just like his like desperation or his fights with like the religious guy, rubbish. It just has this great line delivery. Of course, Telly Savalas is in here with a cameo because at one point the law enforcement come on board and he's like leading them, but it turns out he's a bit like tripped out and wacky, and he does some overacting as well. He's not very good. He's wasted in like a small cameo. But as I said, it's just so much like plot exposition and so much added on to a gimmick which isn't very good in the first place. And yeah, it's a pretty forgettable film apart from the end of the movie. Like, the kills are crap, like I said, and until the end of the movie, where it does get pretty wild because you've got almost like a shootout with like this army going into business for themselves, and they're trying to find who's infected, because there's a thing where even after the creature has been killed, the infection is passing between like passengers, so they have to try and track. And it's just chaos, like as the train is like going down off the cliff, and it's eventually our three like main characters in some ways, because the lead character, the Cushing, and like this other, the Countess, basically they are like the three survivors at the end of it, or the main survivors. Because there's stuff with like the Peter Cushing's assistant where once she finds out about this eye, she's like, oh, this eye is very like valuable, and so she offers this other guy like something like 1,000 or 10,000 rubies or some shit like that to try and retrieve the eye, and that's what leads to her death anyway. But yeah, that's pretty much the film. It's pretty much lame. It's pretty lame. If you want to tick another movie off and another older movie, it is a good one to do. There's a couple of fun scenes, but it really doesn't deliver, because the premise sounds like it could be quite fun. Like I said, it could be a fun X-Files episode, but yeah, it was just so badly done, and apart from the two leads, there wasn't enough to keep me like entertained, and even they were like a bit wasted. So that's Horror Express, which is on Amazon in the UK. You can probably find it one or two other places. So yeah, check it out. It's worth ticking the box, but not very good. I was hoping for more, so I'm gonna give it 4 out of 10. Yeah, not very impressed with this movie, but let me know what you think of it if you've seen it in the comments below. Like and subscribe as always. You can support me a few different ways. First of all, you could go over to patreon.com/borednow. Lots of extra perks for October over there, and that's as little as $1 a month to support me. Or I've just launched channel memberships, and there's going to be lots of different perks and extras over on the channel memberships. There's 3 different tiers if you want to support me that way. Also, that's maybe a bit more direct and on YouTube, and I am going to mix it up. There will be definitely stuff on channel memberships that you're not going to get on Patreon. So yeah, all support is welcome and appreciated, but I'm going to be reviewing horror movies pretty much all month, and lots of live streams coming up, horror watches. So yeah, let me know anyway what you think of the movie. But thanks for listening. Take care, guys. Goodbye.
For 2 million years in these subterranean caves, a creature of superhuman evil was entombed in a wall of ice, waiting to be free, waiting to live again. Travel with on a journey into a world where nightmare becomes reality.
Are you telling me that an ape that lived 2 million years ago got onto that crate, killed the baggage man and put him in there?
Yes, I am. It's alive. It must be.
Travel with us, if you dare, on the Horror Express. Hide, but you can't escape. No one can stop the fury and the terror of the Horror Express.